because we care about the ethics and the morals of this university. Emory has claimed in its mission statement to be ethically engaged and socially active. But what are we doing here on our campus? There are vast inequalities with the employed people on this campus. The people who work directly for Emory are not equal to the ones who are subcontracted at this university. This university subcontracts a lot of its jobs. For example, food service, bus drivers, parking, security. All these people don't work directly for Emory. And we're here today to bring about that issue, to bring attention to that issue. But that's a problem here at this university. In particular, the food service company Sodexo has been cited by human rights violations by Trans Africa Forum and by Human Rights Watch. We don't think that's a company that Emory should be engaging with, that Emory should be doing business with.
That's right.
Our money, our tuition money, is going towards this company that is violating human rights across the globe. This company is the 22nd largest company in the world. Their CEO made the Forbes billionaire list. And it's still systematically underpaying workers across the world and here on our campus. And that's not okay with us.
Not okay.
We've been demanding from Emory's administration to terminate the contract with Sodexo for over a year. And we've also been asking them to implement better standards for all campus workers, not just some of them on our campus.
Right.
And guess what kind of response we've gotten?
Nothing.
That's right.
It's not our responsibility.
That's right. Emory administration has been claiming for over a year that this is not their responsibility. That even though these people work on our campus and work and serve our food and serve us as students, as community members, as faculty, as staff, they consider them as not a part of our Emory community, and therefore they're not entitled to the benefits that Emory employees would get. That's not okay with us, and that's why we're here.
That's right.
That's right.
So we've got a couple of speakers today, and first I want to introduce Alex Zavell. He's a sophomore here at the college,
All right,
and
Alex.
he's been involved in this campaign for a little while, and he's going to tell you all what he thinks about what is going on and what our administration has said.
All right, Alex.
All right, welcome, Alex.
Way to go, Alex. Yeah, Alex.
All right, I think I know a lot of you out here, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, but this is an issue which I'm very passionate about. When I think about where my passion for this comes from, I think it's because recently I've started to become concerned about a lot of problems in the world, a lot of suffering. We hear about it, we study it all the time. But most of those issues, I feel relatively powerless to do anything about it as an individual. But here at Emory, this is an issue which I feel is one that I do have the ability to affect. I feel like it is an issue which is close to us to the point where it would be irresponsible for us to not recognize it and address it.
That's right.
So,
that's right, Alex. That's right.
So I wanted to sort of get a few things out of the way before I delve into my speech. First is really what the things that so far SWS and the administration have agreed on. So we agree that Emory's mission statement to create, preserve, teach, and apply knowledge in the service of humanity is both desirable and ethically necessary. We also agree with President Wagner's view that, quote, when our commitment to see the world through others' eyes is strong, when we hunger and thirst to transcend our self-centered worlds, we will be drawn together and the world will be drawn to us. Doing so will make Emory a destination university. We will be an internationally recognized scholarly community. Finally, we support the administration's stance and its conduct code that it is our collective responsibility to, quote, protect the community from the influence of those who do not embody these values in their conduct and to protect the integrity of the university, its property, for the benefit of all. These are things that we have agreed on thus far. Therefore, the question we as a community are here to decide today is if our decision to contract Sodexo to provide our campus's food services is one that is consistent with these values that we wish to uphold as an Emory community. I'm here to say that I think it is not.
Yeah.
Woo! That's right.
So to start things off, there's been a lot of news recently surrounding Sodexo. As Andrea said, multiple independent human rights organizations, the Human Rights Watch and the Trans-African Forum, have found pervasive abuse of workers' rights in Sodexo's operations around the world. In the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Guinea, and Morocco, workers have been systematically denied compensation for overtime work and fired when they attempt to raise questions about safety on the job. In other news, over the summer, it came to light that Sodexo had defrauded the New York public school system of over $20 million. Attorney General Andrew Cuomo, now the governor of New York's investigation revealed that this is a common practice for the company in its operations everywhere, as it uses its market power as the biggest food provider to obtain illegal kickback refunds from food providers. As an institution that claims to be committed to humanity at large, Sodexo's violations elsewhere should matter to us here. Our community's money directly funds this misconduct, and our acceptance of their presence in the light of their demonstrable willingness to act unethically tarnishes our image. But more important than its practices elsewhere is Sodexo's conduct within the Emory community. I will identify multiple issues which I find incompatible with what we're trying to create here at Emory. First, is Sodexo's presence on our campus ensures the institutionalization of poverty. Duck workers like Pasta John, William Bradley, and Crystal Johnson, which I think most of y'all know, have been a source of joy and energy in the lives of countless Emory students. Despite being part of our community for longer than our current president, Wagner, they are paid barely more than the employees who have been working here for a few months. There's no possibility of social mobility or advancement for workers here on our campus who are providing us food. The administration and Sodexo have held that if these employees don't like their pay, that they should quit their jobs, get some education, and try to find better ones elsewhere. I'm here to say that is a wrong position for us to hold.
That's right.
It saddens me beyond belief that we have allowed ourselves to tell these people that in order for them to escape poverty, they must leave our community. Is that really what it means to be in the service of humanity?
No.
Another huge issue for workers on our campus is the extremely negative work environment created by Sodexo management. Emory, for its part, claims to be committed to ensuring everyone, everywhere on our campus has access to a safe space. After speaking with workers who I've formed close relationships with during my time at Emory, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that Sodexo kitchens and cafeterias are not a safe space for workers.
Right.
Workers have little job security, and workers feel as though they are constantly have to walk on eggshells or risk losing their livelihoods and their family's welfare. The effect is that many workers, our fellow community members, are afraid to speak out about workplace problems. You can't blame them. With Sodexo on campus, they're right to be afraid.
That's right.
No kidding.
The administration's position that there is no, quote, documented proof of this intimidation may seem relevant at first, but we must recognize that as unethical as Sodexo is not stupid. They know the law, and they know how to achieve the effect of intimidation without violating it in a way that can ever be stuck to them. The threat of being fired is always implied, but hardly stated. This is a fact that has become blatantly clear to me, as many of the workers who normally speak freely with me do not feel comfortable doing so when the man in the tie is around. But you don't have to take my word for it. Some workers have overcome their fears and have shared this experience in public forums and even in editorials in the Wheel. I'm ashamed that our administration is comfortable denying the lived experience and personal testimony of our community members and deferring to the denial of a multi-billion-dollar company who would never admit to these things anyway.
That's right. Shame.
Another important issue, which I think is extremely relevant to all of us here, is the willingness of Sodexo to mislead our community members. Sodexo has shown that it is completely willing to deceive our community members on numerous occasions. Last year, multiple Sodexo employees wrote an editorial to the Wheel in response to SWS's actions in support of workers, in which they claimed that they did not need student support because they loved their jobs. It turned out when we looked into who the authors were and talked to other workers here, The authors were not at all rank-and-file food workers, but instead were from places like the marketing department at Emory, at Sodexo, and were trying to mislead the community into believing that the workers who are serving us food here have good treatment. That claim was refuted by two workers who had the courage to write editorials the following week to say that they didn't know any of the workers they had been working here for years, and they didn't know any of the workers who wrote the editorial. Last week, in fact, Sodexo manager Joe Mitchell had the audacity to write an editorial to the Wheel accusing students and workers of spreading misinformation at our event that he was invited to but did not even have the respect to attend. Can we really be comfortable with his willingness to baselessly assert that myself and fellow students who are concerned about workers on our campus are liars on this issue? Is that what we mean? Is that what it means to be a respectful member of our community?
No, no, no. No, no, no.
Sodexo's disregard for our community's interests extends beyond its mistreatment of our workers and its, misleading of our community. I'm sure a lot of you guys will have heard these complaints more than the ones that SWS has been highlighting, but in 2004, despite massive student opposition and an SGA boycott, Sodexo raised the minimum meal plan for sophomores from $400 to $1,100. In another incident, if you haven't checked, it seems to be the near unanimous opinion of the undergraduate population that the food here at Emory provided by Sodexo is generally unhealthy, gross, and far overpriced. Earlier this year, in fact, over 50 students got sick with food poisoning, a claim which Sodexo was very quick to claim was not caused by them, but I'm not quite sure how they could prove that given that they're the only food provider on our campus. Which relates to the next point, which is that Sodexo has fought to exclude other food options from our campus and has created, the administration hasn't been frank with us on this, but student organizations are required to cater their events with food from Sodexo. These concerns may seem unrelated or distinct from the things we're talking about in terms of the treatment of workers or the misleading of our community, but they're unified by Sodexo's prioritization of its self-interest, primarily its own profit, to the detriment of our communities. So, you may ask, what has been the administration's response to this? Because SWS has been talking about these concerns for a long time, about a year and a half. Thus far, the administration has claimed, or they claimed this about a year, pretty much the entire time, that they will look into it. But in over 9 meetings with them, they have ignored and denied the existence of the problem. To the extent that they cannot deny the accounts of first-hand testimony of workers on our campus, their response has been to exclude our campus's food workers from our community and our ethical commitments. They have claimed that those issues are Sodexo problems and not Emory problems because, quote, the employees in question are not Emory employees and Emory does not control the labor policies of its contractors. While this complete abdication of responsibility for the mistreatment might be shocking and disappointing to us, it is not the only way in which Emory currently excludes our food workers from our community. The administration also excludes the campus's subcontracted workers from the privileges given to so-called Emory workers, such as free MARTA passes, and access to outlets to voice their concerns directly to Emory Human Resources. As insignificant as these things may appear on face, or it may appear to administrators and us students, they have a huge material impact. MARTA passes cost Sodexo workers $70 a month out of their own pocket. That is close to $1,000 a year and cost for people who are making around $14,000 a year. And Emory, if they did decide to give these passes to workers, it would only cost them $15 per pass per month because of a contract they have with MARTA. Moreover, the lack of access to Emory Human Resources has a huge impact. How can the Emory administration honestly think that Sodexo will appropriately handle workers' complaints about intimidation when esteemed Human Rights Watch has found that the instances of intimidation aren't just isolated, but a systemic strategy? In what other context in society do we find it appropriate to have the abused seek remedy from the abuser on the abuser's terms? So, y'all may be wondering right now how the administration has publicly justified its categorical denial of these issues raised by students and workers in solidarity. And in our experience in meetings and at multiple interactions with administrators, we have, and we believe this to be at the instruction of Sodexo, because this is also what Sodexo has done in its wheel editorials addressing the issues we've raised. They've accused myself and other students of being pawns of the Service Employees International Union. That is factually incorrect. To this, I say that I'm deeply offended. It saddens me that my own school is willing to question my authenticity of my commitment to our community in favor of siding with a multinational corporation whose only interest is profit.
Right.
But what is the real reason why this practice occurs on our campus? I think the answer is simple. We, the Emory community, have failed to hold ourselves to our commitment to humanity and to our fellow community members. We have become so caught up in our analysis of distant global problems that we have become blind to a very serious problem in our own halls. President Wagner responded to my article in The Wheel that ran Friday. I'm not sure how many of you read it, but he responded to my article in The Wheel yesterday by email. He said that he respects my passion and sincerity. He also asked me to respect what he claimed to be his sincere evaluation of the issue and his decision to not take any action to address the problems. In the letter that he wrote to us responding to previous inquiry into why the administration hadn't taken an issue, I think it was 5 out of the 7 paragraphs mentioned SEIU multiple times, but none of it addressed the issue of the concerns and the problems facing our workers on our campus. In response to President Wagner's decision to asking me to respect his sincerity, I pose him an alternative question. What is there to respect about the decision to literally subcontract away our responsibility and values?
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all coming out. It means a lot. This is our problem as a community. It's our issue to solve. We really cannot just allow this to continue, to allow a company to mistreat its workers so much and to turn a blind eye to all these problems that are existing in our midst. Thank you very much.
Okay.
President Wagner and his administration to officially announce their position. Over a year ago, they've announced their position that it was not their responsibility, and we're giving them another chance today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's tell President Wagner, what do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
All right, thanks guys. So, next we have a really amazing guest here. We have a couple of amazing guests here. First, I would like to introduce one of our Georgia state senators, who is an avid supporter of workers' rights, of immigrants' rights, of students' rights, and protects the most vulnerable people in Georgia from discrimination in our legal system. So, I would like to introduce Senator Vincent Ford.
Love you more. I appreciate the invitation to come out here this afternoon. It's good to be with new friends and some friends of long standing. It's good to see Brother Ferris from the King Center here. Let's give him, I'm sorry, give him a round of applause, Isaac Ferris.
Okay.
We appreciate him being here and bringing the moral authority of the King Center to this place. I'm not going to talk long because I'm real mad. And when I get mad, I say things I should not say. But one thing I do want to say, and then let's be real here, Sodexo is a corporate thug.
Yeah.
Sodexo makes money off of poor folk.
Yeah.
Sodexo makes money off the suffering of the workers here at Emory.
You better. Yeah.
They make money off of people who can't. I mean, isn't it ironic that they are making money off of the backs of folk that serve food who can't serve their own children.
You better say that, Senator.
They are making money off of people who can't pay for their MARTA tickets, their MARTA passes. They're making money off of folk who find it hard to put together the dollars to pay rent every month.
Yes.
They are exploiting people. But the fact of the matter is, where I come from, we say, if you collaborate with evil, you're evil yourself. So if President Wagner has a contract with people who exploit workers, he is helping to do what? Exploit workers. Let's be real about it. You know, and so that's why I'm angry, and I'm going to cut it short real quick. But I wanted to come here to let you know, workers, Sodexo workers, I'm with you. Are any here?
Right here, right here,
Okay,
right here.
I came here to let you know. I came here to let you know that I'm with you.
All right.
Gonna stay with you to the income. And to the students who are in support of these workers, you're doing a great work. Don't get worn down. Don't get put off if they threaten you. You know, because you're doing a great work, and we appreciate you and love you for that. And I know these workers will never forget you for what you do this day, and what you have done, and what you will do. So I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of those folks who are here in solidarity with these workers. We got the Teamsters here, and we got the socialists here. I'm in good company. I love this. And we got, and let's give Isaac Ferris another round of applause.
Okay.
But I want to answer one question. Are you ready to fight?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. I said, are you ready to fight?
Yeah.
I still didn't hear you. Are you ready to fight?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. God bless.
Round of applause. So our next special guest is coming to us from the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He is a direct descendant, the nephew of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and he has come to join us today to show his solidarity. Why don't you give a big round of applause to Isaac Ferris Jr.
Thank you.
Thank you for that warm welcome. To Senator Ford, it's a pleasure always to be in your company, and let's give him a hand, a great champion. To the members of the Student Worker Solidarity Group, and to the Sodexo workers that are here. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be here, joining you and calling for the end to Emory's contract with the Sodexo Corporation.
Okay.
But before I get into that, I do want to stop here and note how proud I am to be a part of this, and to thank you students for what you are doing. This is what you're here at Emory to do, to be involved citizens in your community. So give yourselves a hand for taking the time to be concerned about what my uncle would call the beloved community, which involves all of us, the educated, the uneducated, the black, the white, the poor, the rich, the old, the young, the male, the female, the beloved community. So if nothing else, this is a great day because you are here in that tradition of serving others. So thank you for that. All across the nation, most recently in Wisconsin, Ohio, and Indiana, we're seeing a well-coordinated campaign to crush American labor unions. Of course, in the South, we've been dealing with anti-union companies for many years, unfortunately. But this new campaign is especially virulent. It is designed not merely to stop unions, it's designed to eradicate them from the American economy, something which we must not allow to happen. What's happening here at Emory is very much a part of the anti-union campaign. It is reported that Sodexo has held so-called information meetings that are mandatory for their employees, where they dispense anti-union propaganda. Now, they might call it information like they like to, but it doesn't fool anybody. It sure sounds to me like these meetings are designed to intimidate Emory workers from even considering union representation. But Emory workers, like college and university workers everywhere, need union representation. When you get down to it, the only ticket to job security, decent wages, and safe working conditions is a union card. And given reports of Sodexo's track record on health and safety issues around the country, making Emory a union shop can't happen too soon. My uncle, Martin Luther King Jr., was assassinated in 1968 during a labor union struggle for dignity and decency for sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee. I believe that protesters in Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, and right here at Emory are picking up the torch of freedom and human dignity and carrying forward that same struggle for the rights of working people. My Uncle Martin spoke out many times in support of the labor movement and union representation. He once said, and I'm quoting him here, "The labor movement was the principal force that transformed misery and despair into hope and progress." End of quote. This is true here in Atlanta today, and it will be true for generations to come. Wherever and whenever working people are struggling for dignity and decent living standards. So again, I want to commend all of you here today and even salute the 78 faculty members who signed the letter expressing who had the courage and dedication and determination to sign the letter expressing concern about Emory's contract with Sodexo. And I think it's great that students are supporting the workers here at Emory. As my uncle once said again, we are all tied together in a single garment of destiny. Let this be our rallying cry and our workers' call to unity as we go forward. Workers, students, members of the community, united and determined to create a climate of ethical concern and compassionate engagement in this great citadel of learning. With this faith and this commitment, together we will lay the foundation of a new era of hope, opportunity, where justice, freedom, and human dignity can thrive and prosper unabated. In closing, I would like to add that I'm not only here representing the King Center, but also the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the organization that my uncle started. And I just want you to know that SCLC is here today, will be here tomorrow, be here until we claim the victory. Thank you.
And Sodexo employee leaders who are here. So this is an amazing, amazing moment in Emory's history. Yeah. All right, so let's tell Emory administration, what do we want?
Justice!
And when do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want?
Now!
What do we
Okay.
Alright, so we've got another question for some members of Emory's administration is here. So we've got a question for them, and Miko's going to play it out in song.
As Mr. Ferris just mentioned to us, the civil rights movement had roots in the labor movement. Both were struggles for dignity and human rights, first and foremost. What I'm going to sing today, what I want to ask the administration is simple.
Which side are you on?
Which side are you on? Are you on the side of dignity, justice, human rights? The values that Emory claims to uphold on a daily basis, but violates every day by working with Sodexo? Or are you on the side of Sodexo, which exploits workers here on our campus, has these informational meetings that are mandatory for workers on Emory's campus? Are you going to side with justice, or are you going to side with Sodexo? Which side are you on? Roger, I need a hand. So, to carry on the 100-year tradition of singing together, standing up together, we must sing together today. And the song is very simple. Which side are you on?
Which side are you on?
Twice.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Come all you good workers, good news to you I tell, of how this group of students has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say at Old Emory, you can't be neutral, no. You'll either be a union man or a thug for Sodexo.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a worker and I'm a worker's friend, and I'll stick with the workers until this battle's end.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't stand for the bosses, don't listen to their lies, 'cause us performing got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? 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 Okay.
Which side are the administrators on? Are there any administrators here?
I guess we know.
I don't know. Are there anybody here? Yeah, so Sophia's right. We have invited Emory administration here today to give their position on this issue, on the things that the Emory community has been asking for over a year. So I'd like to invite the administrators who are present here to speak to the group.
Vice President Gary Hawk.
Vice President Gary Hawk.
Thank you. Again, my name is Gary Hawk. I serve Emory as Vice President and Deputy to the President of Emory. Jim Wagner cannot be. How's that? So you gotta get right up close and personal. So again, Gary Hawk is my name. I serve as Vice President and Deputy to the President of Emory. Jim Wagner, President of Emory, could not be here today because he had previously scheduled appointments at the Oxford College campus of Emory. And so I'm here to speak on his behalf. And I want to read a letter that he sent yesterday in response to the letter to him dated April 6th, requesting, essentially demanding that Emory terminate its contract with Sodexo. I might say that a word of thanks for you in lifting up the centrality and the importance of the union in the conversation about Sodexo, because this is part of the first paragraph. It's addressed to students and workers in solidarity. Thank you for your letter sent on April 6th on behalf of SWS. That letter, along with earlier correspondence and meetings with members of the administration and others in the Emory community, has drawn Emory's attention to the ongoing disagreement between two very large organizations, the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, and Sodexo. According to its website, SEIU is the fastest growing union in America, the largest healthcare union, the largest property services union, and the second largest public services union. Sodexo claims on its own website to be the leading food services provider in North America, serving more than 10 million persons daily in some 6,000 locations just on this continent. On one side of the debate, SEIU alleges instances of abuse by Sodexo of its employees, human rights violated, workers dismissed without cause, reprisals levied for labor organizing, and overwork for substandard wages. Sodexo responds that such allegations are not true and are part of an ongoing smear campaign by SEIU. Sodexo explains that this campaign is designed to convince universities to pressure Sodexo to give in to SEIU's demands to capitulate to organizing efforts without allowing Sodexo employees to vote in secret ballot elections under procedures established and overseen by the National Labor Relations Board. SEIU posts on its website reports from Human Rights Watch and TransAfrica about alleged abuses by Sodexo. In turn, Sodexo posts claims that it has earned praise and awards for its employment practices, ranging from a first-place ranking by Diversity Inc. for diversity inclusion,
who they fund,
to recognition as Best Company for Hourly Workers and Best Company for Multicultural Women by Working Mother magazine,
who they also fund,
to praise by parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays, and others as an employer of LGBT workers. For its own part, Sodexo has brought a suit against SEIU, charging violations of the Racketeer Influenced and Corporate Organizations Act, alleging that SEIU has engaged in blackmail, vandalism, trespassing, harassment, and violations of lobbying law. Sodexo asserts that SEIU uses students and front organizations like United Students Against Sweatshops to help assert its positions, and that SEIU has donated, according to the Department of Labor, at least $100,000 to USAS because it serves the union's purposes. SEIU, in turn, calls the lawsuit bogus. The crux of the issue for Emory appears to stand at the intersection of the competing interests of two giant organizations. On the one hand, SEIU's interest in breaking more fully into representation of food service workers on university campuses, and on the other hand, Sodexo's wish to preserve its reputation and position of leadership in the food services industry. For us at Emory, as an ethically engaged community, two questions arise.
The first is whether food service workers employed by Sodexo at Emory are treated fairly and have the right and freedom to unionize without being intimidated or threatened. The second, broader question is how best to weigh competing claims about activities beyond our campus. With regard to the first question, from what we have been able to determine, Sodexo does not engage in practices that block employees from the opportunity to vote in secret through the federally sanctioned NLRB process. Sodexo's employees have avenues available to them if they have grievances, specifically Sodexo's Human Resources Department and the NLRB. Nor have we found evidence that Sodexo workers on the Emory campus are subject to systematic violations of either Emory's Code of Ethics or Sodexo's own internal policies. With regard to the second question concerning claims levied by Sodexo and by SEIU about activities beyond our campus, our judgment is that the unresolved charges and countercharges do not warrant terminating Sodexo's contract on the Emory campus. Because of interest expressed by some members of the Emory community in this issue, we are prepared to share this response more broadly, and I have copies of this if any of you would care to have them. Thank you.
Question session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gary Hawk. I apologize that you were asked to take care of a question that was posed for President Wagner. Thank you for reading his email. I have a question for you as a person, Dr. Gary Hawk. It's a simple question, actually. It's which side are you on?
Yes. Which side are you on?
Which side are you on?
Which side are you on?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
So the two choices, which he just walked away from, were, I had a pen for him too, a big pen. Which side are you on? Workers, students, and an ethically engaged Emory? Or the side of Sodexo, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and just take their word for it? So I think we're going to wait to see if we can get a check mark today, because it's a very simple question. And I think it deserves a response by the hundreds of students, community members, faculty, and workers who are here today who took time out of their day to ask this simple question. So with that, I'll give the microphone over to Joe. And we're gonna wait for this question, a very, very simple question.
Joe, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming out. That was a pretty unsatisfying response, huh?
Yes.
That's the old walk away, huh?
Bullshit.
Well, again, students, faculty, Sodexo workers, and distinguished guests, thank you for your support, and thank you for showing up. I guess it seems that we can see that workers' rights don't rank so highly on our administration's priorities list. I guess it seems that rather than lead our campus, our community out of the muddled moral murkiness of maintaining disputable, debatable, and undesirable ties with the sordid service provider Sodexo, that the Emory administration would rather continue its justice dodging, justice ducking, and justice denying disposition. The time to accept such evasion of our repeated attempts at moral suasion is long past. Martin Luther King Jr.'s nephew, Mr. Isaac Ferris Jr., is here with us today because he knows, as his uncle would have known as well, that the time to rectify wrongs is long past.
That's right.
State Senator Vincent Fort is with us here today because he knows the time to tackle untruths is long past. Each and every one of you
gathered here today is here precisely to state, in no uncertain terms, that the time to remain quiet in the face of the administration's attempts at disempowerment is long past, and something must be done. At bottom, Emory's financial relationship with Sodexo, the issue that has united us out here today in front of the administration building, is about respect and responsibility. That's right. If you check the official Emory website, and I can tell you, I checked it this morning just to make sure that this still holds, you can read a vision statement that is resplendent with paradisaical pronouncements of prodigious goals and outstanding objectives. Emory's vision statement employs ethereal words such as humane, respectful, and integrative, detailing the university's service to humanity. With such lofty language comes the duties of responsibility and respect. It is now up to the administration to respect the food service workers, the students, and the campus community enough to prove that the words it uses are genuine. That's right. It is now up to the administration to imbue these words with a reality proportionate to their rhetoric. If President Wagner wishes to prevent the sinking and sagging of campus morale, an inevitable byproduct of such an unbridled display of hypocrisy and cynicism, it is now the time to show that the words he is so fond of using, the phrase ethical engagement, is not emptied of its eloquence and stripped of its significance. For the past year and 4 months, during the fight to rid our campus of Sodexo's presence, it has been the students and workers who have been ethically engaged, and the 78 faculty members who have been ethically engaged. And it has been President Wagner, John Ford, Gary Hawk, and the rest of the administration who have led us to believe that vision statements are nothing but fantastic fabrications concocted to do little more than decorate computer screens. It is an unfortunately common situation for the wellspring of discontent and disenchantment to be found in the words of those with enough personal pride to take on leadership positions. However, today's events, the superb support of Mr. Isaac Farris Jr. and the SCLC, and the committed comments of State Senator Vincent Ford and our student speakers, and your presence have demonstrated our wholehearted and unhesitating commitment to seeing this issue through. Emory is a great university, and Atlanta is a great city, precisely because we are Emory, and we are Atlanta. In my back pocket, I have a declaration of perpetual commitment and ethical escalation. This statement says, President Wagner, we, the members of the Emory community, are deeply disappointed that you have maintained Emory's financial relationship with Sodexo Food Services, a documented human rights violator. We, the members of the Emory community, pledge our perpetual commitment to the rectification of this issue, and we promise persistent ethical escalation of our attempts to do so. This is in the letter as well, and this is a very important point. Our next event is scheduled to take place prior to this year's graduation. Perpetual commitment and ethical escalation. We will not go away. Sincerely, a concerned Emory campus. My friends, now is the time for President Wagner to live up to his responsibilities. Now is the time for Emory to make good on its national reputation. Now is the time for workers' rights to be respected and protected. Now is the time for President Wagner's stance to be objected and corrected. Now is the time to end our relationship with Sodexo. Now is the time to make our voices heard. Now is the time to draw on the very best in our nature and to take a stand for those lofty ideals of justice, peace, and truth. So in the interest of common ground and community, I put the question to you. Should we make our voices heard? Yes! Should we make our voices heard? Yes! Should we go into this administration building and show our sincerity by delivering our declaration of perpetual commitment and ethical escalation?
Yes!
And while we're at it, should we demand a clear commitment on this very clear board here from President Wagner to take a side. To side with workers. To side with justice. Should we ask him this?
Yes.
Should we demand a clear answer? Well, let's take that stand. The time is now. The time to take this issue straight to President Wagner's desk is right now. Please join us in entering the administration building and seeing this issue through. We will be entering the administration building and bringing this very clear issue to President Wagner's desk, along with our declaration of perpetual commitment and ethical escalation, to let him know personally that this issue cannot be swept under the rug. This issue will not go away. Our voices will be heard. Please join us. Thank you very much.
All right.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, we gotta start chanting.
All right, we're going in.
Start chanting. Better start chanting.
All right, guys, we're going in through the side.
Help us carry the food. Protect the food. It's Alex Lanson. I know, we're supposed to go. When they stop us.
What's that? Remind me your name? Jack. What's up? Hey. Alright.
Orderly couldn't get out of that unless you did.
Probably should at least open the door and make sure it's huh?
Chill until like we get en masse.
Yo, where's your? Didn't give a good reason why.
Yeah.
No.
No, let's go.
Is Roger gonna lead the way?
Yeah, let's go. Right here. Just the stairs. Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Live on the 4th floor.
Yeah. Alex is like, get up there.
Wait, President Wagner? Wait, what?
No.
I said he was in Oxford.
Well, no, I'm saying his office is up.
Oh. Are you to get up there?
Come on, y'all.
Alright.
Come on, y'all.
Hey Raj, I can pull people up. Yep. Heading up this way.